Hey, what's up, guys? All right, so in today's coaching video, I'm going to coach you up on the topic of breathing. All right, now I know that may not sound, fun, exciting, and sexy and all that type of stuff, but it is relevant to you being able to perform efficiently and effectively and consistently in any given type of activity that you're going to be doing, whether it's running, swimming, weightlifting, powerlifting. It all translates any type of endurance type stuff, biking, what have you. And this is relevant because at the end of the day, we want to be able to perform at our very best, relevant to our ability. And so this question actually came about from someone who gets these emails asking specifically, do I have tips on breathing patterns for running? And so the great thing about breathing is that we need to do it no matter what we're doing. So I want to coach you up on that today. So I'm going to first start by letting you understand that we need to establish rhythmic patterns of breathing that allow our body to receive air and continue to function. So our muscles will be able to sustain. We won't get dizzy because our brain is getting oxygen. And so our body is this, well-oiled machine that there's so many components that go into it that allow it to function effectively. And obviously air is needed in order for us to live and to continue to move. So that's why it's so important. So you plug in physical activity, the heart rate getting elevated, and then if we don't have this rhythmic pattern of breathing down, or at least don't understand how to start breathing correctly during our training, then that's where we run into, I get dizzy, or I feel like I have to stop, or for some people, I feel like I'm gonna pass out and throw up even. So I wanna minimize that for you. So I'm gonna start by just coaching you up on, with an understanding of when you should or how to establish a rhythmic pattern of breathing. So whenever we're in this loaded position, and I'm going to show you using a shoulder press first. This is what's called the loaded position. So I want you to think if you kind of wrap your mind around a gun. So a gun, before you pull the trigger, is loaded, right? So it's loaded with the bullet. It has the firing pin, which is going to be struck by the hammer, which is going to cause the pin to go forward, strike the bullet, and then release all that energy. So that's essentially what we're doing. So when we say we're in the loaded position, this is an example on the shoulder press. This is the loaded position. So before I pull the trigger, I'm going to make sure that I have full compression in my body, and I'm going to do that by breathing in through my nose. And then before I pull the trigger, or when I pull the trigger, I'm going to let all of that energy out so that I can get this bullet, if you would, over my head, because that's the objective of the exercise, right? So I'm going to be loaded here. And now when I load, I'm bracing my core, my abs are tight. So I have all this energy spent up. And then when I pull the trigger, breathe out. I breathe in because I reloaded. Notice I took a breath back in, and then I exerted out, and so forth. And that's one example, and it applies for anything. If we're talking weight training, so on the up position, I'm going to breathe in as I go down. The gun is loaded, and I pull the trigger. I breathe out and exert all that energy out, and it allows me to get that repetition or get my weight off of the ground. I feel a lot more stronger, a lot more efficient in my movement. And again, I repeat that same breathing pattern. So, and so forth. And you can kind of see, hopefully you get the hint by now that this translates into anything. So if we're talking about running, my apology, I'm going to bounce a little bit here. I want to establish a nice rhythmic pattern that allows me to continue to pace at a given rate. So if I'm going to go faster, a couple of things can happen. Either I need to increase the intensity or the frequency of my breaths. So let's say I'm sprinting. Let's say I'm just pacing. I'm going for a nice little stroll in the park. And you see how I established these different types of rhythmic patterns that mimic the intensity in which I'm moving or I'm trying to perform a certain activity. Okay, so my best advice that I can give to you, if you are someone that is learning about this or you want to be more efficient and effective in your training, you need to establish that rhythmic pattern of breathing that's going to allow you to function on a consistent basis through any given, workout, set, rep, what have you. And you do that again by just starting to understand how and when you need to breathe and exert that breath out or let it out and then breathe it back in. And so you can start practicing by simply breathing in your nose and then letting it out when you pull that trigger out your mouth. So, and so forth. And so if you start doing this and implementing it consistently, you will learn to start creating your own rhythmic patterns that will allow you to sustain movement for a duration of time or given set, rep, what have you. So if you have any questions, please let me know. Here to help you. Train hard, train smart. I'll see you guys soon.